Body dysmorphic disorder, otherwise known as body dysmorphia, is simply a mental health condition where the person suffering from it worries constantly and every day about how they look. They worry about particular parts of their body, if not all of their body, and this creates a massive increase in their anxiety and a lot of emotional distress. Now I know this because every day for the last 8 to 9 years I have suffered from this as well. It's so hard to try and not believe that you look fat, ugly, worthless. BDD makes you think like that. It makes you think negatively, and it makes you think like you're the most ugliest, fattest monster that has ever lived.
I don't recognise myself. I don't like how I look.
Like I say, for the last 8 to 9 years I have struggled with this. It's been a daily, constant battle. I have hated my weight. I've always been a bigger person, apart from 2 years in 2017 when I lost a lot of weight. Apart from them 2 years, I've always been big, or fat, as people have always called me. Because of this, bullying, abuse, and all these little comments from people in school, in college, or just on the street, it's made me suffer massively with body dysmorphia. I've always struggled to go outside unless I'm wearing about 100 layers of clothing, and when it's summer and when it's 25 degrees outside, that is so hard because you actually feel like you're going to collapse. But that's better than feel like you're going to be judged or feel like you're going to be ridiculed by people you don't know. Now some people say other people's opinions don't matter. Now I always try and say that to myself, but when you're outside and you feel like people are looking at you, laughing at you, judging you because they're a lot thinner than you or a lot better looking than you can't do that. It's impossible not to think negatively when you suffer with body dysmorphia. I think this is a massively underrepresented mental health condition. I think personally for me it's been one of the worst because it's made me struggle every day for the last 9 or so years. It's made me cancel a lot of meetups with friends. It's made me pretend to be sick so I don't have to go out with my friends or my family. Not because I don't want to. My mind and my anxiety are so high that I simply just can't do it, and if I did do it I think I'd actually have a breakdown sometimes. Well, all the time actually. Before I go out, whether it's to Birmingham to see my family or my friends, or whether it's go to work, or whether it's just to go for a walk around where I live, I spend about half an hour plus looking in the mirror, testing about 100 pieces of different clothing to see which one makes me look the thinnest, especially when I breathe in. Now a lot of the time it makes me end up having like an emotional breakdown because in any of the clothes I wear or any of the ways that I stand or any position that I stand in, I still, when I look in the mirror, I still look fat, I still look ugly, and I still look horrible, and I feel like I'm going to be judged and ridiculed and things like that, and I can't put myself in that situation. So if I don't find something that makes me feel slightly comfortable, then I will not go out. Now that's hard as well when you've got a job to do. When I do find a piece of clothing that makes me feel comfortable, and I hear people say, well, why don't you wear that piece of clothing every time you go out? And I don't, because the fact is, one day a piece of clothing, or like a t-shirt and a jacket for example, could make you feel comfortable and you feel fine. But the next week, that t-shirt and that jacket could make you feel the fattest thing in the world. And that's how it plays on your mind. So there's no consistency. When I do find something that makes me feel relatively comfortable, relatively thin, then when I do go out, I always make sure people aren't around so I can go out. When I do bump into people, which is obviously all the time, pretty much because it's quite a small town, then I will breathe in so much to the point where if I'm walking up a hill, I will actually struggle to breathe to the point where again I feel like I'm going to collapse. But again, that feeling of not being able to breathe and not feel like you're going to collapse is a lot better than feeling like you're going to be judged, ridiculed, laughed at, and just basically taken the mick out of, because I think if that did happen, then that would just be the end of it. That would just send me on a crash course to a breakdown and emotional mess, and I really don't want that. I think I'd rather struggle than completely fall apart altogether. A lot of people don't believe it when I tell them that, because I hide it well, and I know I hide it well. I hid suffering from depression and anxiety for about 6 years. I hid being gay for about 6 years. So I'm a pretty good actor. That feeling of being judged is horrible. And a lot of people suffer from this, especially young people, I'd say. Young girls, young boys. That's because they feel like they have to fit into an image that has been portrayed to them by social media, like Instagram, by filters that are now available on these social media platforms, and just by pretty much seeing other people who do look flawless. You want to look like that. But then when you realise you don't look like that, you look completely different, because you are completely different, these little thoughts appear in your head and they don't go away. Every time I go out and I see guys who are thin, who are good looking, who have better hair than me, who, have a better face than me, who don't have psoriasis or spots, who have a good fashion sense or anything like that, then I get really, really, I think jealous is the wrong word, but because I really wish, why can't I look like that? Why can't I be thin? Why can't I be good looking? Why do I have to have a skin condition that only affects 2% of the English population? It's not fair, but there's nothing I can do about that one, because there's no cure for that. But of course there is a cure for weight, and that's obviously losing weight, healthy eating and exercise. And that's something I'm really, really trying to do at the minute, in lockdown especially. I'm finding it hard in lockdown actually, because the weight doesn't seem to be moving as quickly as what it was before. And I really, really wish it would hurry up, because I don't want to feel like this forever. And some days it feels like I am going to. When I do look in the mirror, like many other people who suffer with body dysmorphic disorder, they see somebody completely different to what they thought. They see somebody who's ugly. They see someone who's fat. They see someone whose lips are disgusting, whose face is spotty and their face is green when it's not. That is what body dysmorphic disorder does to your mind. It plays tricks on you, and I think that would be a shock actually to those people who don't really know much about it or don't suffer from it. Then I'd say you're very lucky that you don't. But I think the majority of people that may have watched this video will have suffered with it, or know somebody who's suffered with it, because it is so common, but it is so underrepresented and so not talked about, especially from guys. And that's why I wanted to talk about it, because it's so important that we help each other, that we talk about these things, so people can realise they're not on their own. Because for years I thought, oh God, I'm on my own, I'm lonely, there's nothing to do. What can I do about this? I'm going to stay like this forever, I'm going to be fat forever, I'm going to be ugly forever, and no one's going to ever want to go out with me, I'm going to basically die alone. That's not the case. Anybody who does suffer with body dysmorphia, who's watching this video, remember that you were born unique. You were born for a reason. You're the only person out of 7+ billion who looks like you. Why should you have to look like that girl over there, who's blonde, who's got a relatively good figure? Why? Everybody comes in different shapes and sizes. Now, if we weren't supposed to come in different shapes and sizes, then we would all be the same. We'd all be, stick thin or anything like that. But there's differences for a reason. Differences don't matter. That's what makes us great and unique. It's important to focus on personality, because somebody may be so-called beautiful, or have blonde hair, or have a really good figure, or be really popular because of all this, but they may have an absolutely shocking personality, and I would much rather focus on personality than someone's looks. That's really hard to get into your mind when you are suffering with this. Also, I'd suggest, when you are looking in the mirror, even though you probably will hate what you see, like I do, try and find at least one positive thing per day, per week, about your body. Now that could be, my hair looks decent today. Oh, my spots aren't bad. I look a bit thinner today. Maybe I'm losing weight. It could be anything. Or it could literally just be, you know what, it doesn't matter that I don't like how I look, because I love my personality. And that is so much more worthwhile than looks. People shouldn't focus on looks. Personality is what gets you somewhere, in my opinion. That's a big one. That's a big one for me. Although I do still suffer from it. I think the sad part of body dysmorphia are the statistics behind it. Now these could be quite shocking for somebody who doesn't know them. 80% of people who suffer with body dysmorphia or relevant mental health conditions similar to that have thought about suicide. 80%, whereas 28% have actually attempted suicide. That is even more shocking. Nearly 30% have tried to kill themselves because they don't like how they look. Now that's not their fault. That's down to them feeling so uncomfortable and so worthless and pointless that they feel like dying is much better than going outside and being judged and bullied and abused by people. Kindness is free and it's much nicer. I couldn't live with myself knowing that I have contributed to somebody killing themselves, trying to kill themselves. How somebody can is frankly beyond me. To all them bullies, bullied me, who abused me, who always abused me for how I look, for how I act, for my weight. You're the reason that I suffer with this today. And for that, I hate you, to be honest. But I'm not a hateful person. All I'm going to do is kind of win the battle with body dysmorphia. I'm going to lose weight and I'm going to improve my look to how I want it. Not how anybody else wants me to look. If I want to have different coloured hair, different glasses, different style of clothing altogether than somebody else, that's my decision and that's my right, and I can and I will. And people suffering with it, remember, you can do the same. You don't have to fit into an image of society that may make other people feel comfortable but doesn't make you feel comfortable. You be whatever you want to be, because life's too short for that. Remember that we were all made to be unique and to be different, but we were all made for a reason. Not one of us was a mistake. So own it. Be proud of who you are, even if you don't like how you look. Find ways of improving that if that's what you want to do, but you can do it. And there is life past body dysmorphia. And that's what I will find out about, because I will do it. Remember to be proud and be you. That is the whole point of these videos. People with mental health conditions are underrepresented. So I am really trying to help myself with my mental health problems, but also I want to help other people realise it's okay. There's no shame behind it. I'm not ashamed. If I was, I wouldn't be doing this. But I'm proud of who I am. And although I don't like how I look, that is irrelevant, really. But I will change it because I want to feel comfortable. And you can too. So remember to just be confident. Thank you.